Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to some more Endless Scrap Mechanic. We're in creative mode with a project in mind. I want to try and make a self-building road machine. So what that means is I want to make something that will be able to move along the ground and place down materials that will make a road as it moves along. Now these things exist in real life. They're like for bricklaying and stuff like that. So this is going to be a very scrap mechanic version of that build. And quite honestly, I don't even know if this is going to work. So let's start off by talking about the end goal here. I've created a template or a version of like the road that I want to have completed once the segment is done and you keep on moving through. So this is basically what like a section of the road might look like. Now this is relatively simple in design, but you can see that there are a couple different materials. We have the brick center for the actual road, and then I also wanted to add a concrete section here on either side, as well as a line in the middle to kind of add a slight variance to the entire build. So basically, as the machine moves forward, what will be left behind is this road. Now there's going to be some various challenges. So right here I have a quick little setup of pretty much like the foundation of the mechanism that will be building this road. Now, of course, in creative mode, we have the survival parts here. So we have the vacuum pump, a vacuum tube, as well as a large chest. We can connect them all. We can put items inside of the chest as well. And of course, you can see here, we can place those blocks down by using that vacuum pump, and you can see there we go, we've got ourselves a single brick. So we're going to be basically making it one block at a time. So right here I have a little demonstration to show you guys that this is the max range of the vacuum pump. You can see I can drag, it's a full length of 16. And that's the farthest that a block will reach. And for scaling purposes, I have a Shelby Cobra here by that mad one who created this. And this is what we're going to be using for the scaling here. So you can see it fits this nice little car. Now this is not a very big car, but it's extremely well scaled to the mechanic. So that is going to be our kind of starting point for the size of this road here. Alright, so let's get this build started. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'll just use my lift here. I have this placed down exactly on the grid, so we can use that as a reference point. So I suppose what I should probably do is extend out the entire width here of the roadway. There we go. That's the perfect width right there, and we got the perfect width here as well. So this is going to be kind of like the extreme point. So I want something that kind of hugs the exterior here and covers the entire thing. So I'm thinking what I'm going to need is probably like maybe at least an extension of 3 on either side, and hopefully that will give us, you know what, actually no, I'm gonna want another one just so we can have room for a large wheel. Now the entire mechanism that is going to be using these vacuum pumps is probably going to be sitting underneath something like this that is going to be like hanging down. So I think what I might do is just right away kind of figure out at least what the machine is going to look like in terms of a moving vehicle. So something like that, and I am going to give it a little bit of width as well, just like that. So now we actually have a little bit of a frame going on here, and I am going to add some large wheels just like this. We're going to lift it up a little bit more, and there we go. So that's the room for the large wheels, and then I'm thinking what I might do is put like a very low friction block in between the wheel here and what would be the curb of the road, and that's just so that way everything stays lined up and you don't start getting weird block placements from the vacuum pump. Now, one of the issues you might notice right away here with this vacuum pump is the fact that even when it's completely flush to the ground like this, you can see that the block that we are going to get ends up being one block up off of the ground. Now, one thing I could do is I could design it so that the road gets built one block up off of the ground, but I want to kind of make this feel like it's really grounded and we've actually laid like a permanent fixture in the world, and that would mean connecting the entire thing to the ground, so you can't just easily delete a single block and then throw it on the lift. So we're gonna have to kind of figure something out with that. So I'm thinking, now that we kind of have an idea of what the frame might look like separately, I can start working on the things that actually shoot the blocks. So along with the issue of that block being one block off of the ground, we have the same problem all the way around the entire thing. There's going to be a 1 block gap separating everything. So I'm going to have to pretty much mount these vacuum pumps and the chests and everything onto some type of piston system that will be able to control each one. Now, I'm thinking, though, I feel like I could probably have one system for this side here, and then another system for this concrete block, and then one system for the bricks on the right, another system for the bricks on the left, and then a single one doing the blocks down the center. So I'm thinking the best thing to do might be to start on the outsides, and we will work our way in. So this is going to be very interesting. I think no matter what, everything is going to have to be put onto a controller and pointed downward. So I'm going to actually build off of the lift for this. I think it's going to be a little bit easier. So this looks like kind of like a good initial setup here. We're going to have it attached to a bearing, and we're going to be able to control it. So that way I'm thinking if we might like keep it up off the ground a little bit higher, we might be able to point it down a little bit and then get it to look at those ones that are too close to the ground. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to want to like mount it onto something here where I can put a piston so we can move it from left to right to fill in both sides here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a piston down here. I feel like, I mean, you can't really make a mistake until you actually make the mistake, right? You got to build something and figure out if it's going to work or not. So we're going to start with this. So we have the block there, and then this goes straight here. Okay, so no, I don't think we're going to want the block here. You know what? We're not even going to have a little test one. We're just going to build right onto the frame here. And I'm going to put a vacuum pump onto this here. And I think we're going to have it nice and centered, just like so. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to want a controller. I'm just going to keep things very, like, simple and laid out very directly here. We're going to put the controller on that bearing there. And so this is where it's going to get kind of crazy, because I do need a chest. And I suppose I could probably just attach the chest directly to the vacuum pump, but I kind of want to have like a space where you can work and add blocks to the chest without having to kind of drop down into like the gears and the mechanisms, so to speak, of that setup. So here's what I'm thinking. We might be able to get away with like a chest setup. All right, so I'm thinking maybe something more like this, because I realize I think something's gonna get into contact there if we do it that way. So now we actually have something here. We're going to add, I guess this would be our concrete or stone block going in right there. And we'll get a button just for some quick testing purposes here onto that. Okay, so let's point this down. Okay, that's not down, that's up. Let's switch that. Okay, here we go. So now we're actually looking at where that block is going to get placed. So let's bring it in. Maybe, okay, so that's showing up on the top one here, so let's go down a little bit more. Maybe 10? Okay, there we go. So now 10 is pointed directly into that seam right there. And then, of course, if we go to this piston, we can imagine extending it. Oh, I guess we just need to extend it by the 1 there. And then with another button, we can do another quick test here just to see. So if we press the button here, we should be able to see that block move to the right. There it goes. And so now we can place them on each spot right there. So I could have another piston maybe lift this up, but I was thinking of maybe just utilizing this single controller here and running the sequence in that sense. So let's see here. Let's get that controller and the bearing connected with that piston. So in this state here, if it was to put out a block, it would put one here, and then we would have a timer set up so that it puts the next one there. And then I suppose what we're going to do is like a circle motion. Instead of kind of going back and forth, we'll just kind of like loop around in a circle here. So I suppose what would happen is the piston will extend by 1. Now hold on here, I gotta like stop and think about this within the terms of actually placing blocks down. So it's going to put a block down, it's going to move, it's going to put another block down, and then it's going to point up. So I guess it needs to put a block down and then move once. So maybe we'll try and like sequence this here. So yeah, we're going to move it over and keep the 0 there. So it puts a block, it moves it over, it does what it needs to do there by putting another block down, and then it points up. I guess it's going to have to come back maybe like 5 degrees. And then once it goes that way, it's going to put another block down, and then retract to 0 and put another block down, and then hopefully loop this sequence. So we're going to hit that onto loop. We're going to go medium speed here just to test it, and we're going to grab this switch here, hook it up, and let's just take a look and see what this is going to look like. Okay, there we go. It moved it out 1. Now it's pointing it up. Okay, I think we might want to go full speed on this. It points it up. It brings it in. And then it points it down. Oh no, wait, I forgot to set it to the down position here. Okay, let's turn that off. So that's what we need to reaccount for. So it extends it out by 1. And then it lifts it, it points it up. And then it puts another block down. And then, okay, yeah, this is where we need to bring it back down again. Right there like that. And now we have it at full speed. So let's just see what this is going to look like. Over, up, to the left, back down again. Okay, so that happened a little too fast. So we're going to want probably a pause right here like this as well to leave room for that block placement there. So let's just see what this does now. Over, up, in, down. And there we go. So now if we just set this to loop just like so, it's going to probably do something weird here for a second. Okay, there it goes. Oh, I guess the switch is on now, so it's looping right now. So here we go. We can see that this is like the very simple mechanism for this left side curb right here. And it seems to be going relatively smoothly. The block timing is going to be interesting. I might have to get in there a little bit and maybe dial in on some of the timings. Maybe the difference between the piston and the bearing turning could be pretty big as well. So now let's see if we can find the appropriate speed at which we are going to place these blocks down. Now this will hopefully work out. We might have to really play around with how long it takes for things to happen through that controller there. So right now I just have this set to 1 second here. It's just going to keep on bouncing at 1 second intervals. So maybe we might be able to kind of just visualize this and see if this would work. So it's 1, 2, 3. See, there's a long pause right there. So there's a really long pause, and then it happens really fast. So, I mean, we're getting some good motion here, but why don't we reset this? And what we're going to do is we're going to attach this switch here to the timer, and we're going to see if this lines up or not. All right, so we're going to grab this logic gate, hook it up to the vacuum pump. Now, okay, I have a huge feeling that this is just not going to work out timing-wise, but I'm curious to see what happens. So let's just try this out here. There's 1. Uh-oh. Was there only 1 block? Oh my goodness. Okay, I only put 1 block in there. We gotta reset. There we go. We're just gonna fill it up because we know that that's gonna be the only material coming out of there. And we gotta make sure it's set to loop. There we go. All right, let's try that again. Now, let's just hope this works. Block 1. 2. It missed 1. It seems to be only missing 1, so it looks like we might just need to get it to cycle a little bit faster. Well, you know what though? I think, okay, well it might start missing under here. Okay, yeah, see, it's starting to miss from the top part there, but you know what? This is actually working pretty good, and I think if we just set this to, maybe just a slightly faster interval, we'll get some success here. So like I said, originally it was set to 1, so I guess we're gonna bring that down, and maybe we'll start at 8 milliseconds here, and maybe that will be just quick enough to get this whole thing working. So let's set that back to loop, and let's go for test number 2. Block 1, 2, 3, or, oh my god, it just caught it. Is it going to stay in? No, see, it missed 1 there. So that's the problem we're having right now. Now, that might just be due to the fact that we're using it on a bearing. Well, and you know what, too, actually? We're not moving. This whole thing should be moving away very slowly as well, which clearly it is not. So right now, I'm just going to add some of these low-friction blocks here. I think I need to actually do more testing with the vehicle in movement, because that is pretty much like the intended design is to have this moving. So it's probably best if we start looking at that too. All right, so I've got the low friction blocks on the machine now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna weld this to the ground, and I think we might just kind of use this as like the starter base of this vehicle. Now I'm hoping we should be able to just line this up on the lift here. where I can just drop it down, and we should hopefully just have it lined up nicely. There we go. And we'll drop that down. Perfect. So that way we have this lined up, and this might give us a little bit of a starting point here on where we should kind of be focusing on the distances. So I suppose for the drive system, we can try out maybe an electric motor here. We're going to pop that down. Maybe we'll put it somewhere not so obvious, maybe somewhere just around here. And we're going to connect these to the wheels, and I think we're going to probably start with the slowest setting possible here. We're going to go to 1 tick. Okay, and those are going in the wrong direction, and I suppose we're going to want those on the switch as well. So let's flip those bearings. Okay, there we go. And now, let's just see this, because this might be too fast as well as a speed here. Oh, that's actually looking kind of good. It is happening. Yeah, okay, it's going a little too fast, but you can see that it was actually doing a pretty decent job for a moment there. Now, I'm realizing, though, I think using the bearing, it's just not fast enough. Now, I do like the idea, though, of having the bearing set, so that way we can avoid, obviously, having the issue here, where the block ends up being one off of the ground. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have to add a piston to this that can lift the entire thing up. Alright, there we go. So what I did was I just lowered this down an extra block, brought it over, and then added a piston there. So that way now we have a piston that can go up, and of course we have the same piston here that's going to extend it from left to right. So now we're going to hook up this bearing, but this is going to be, obviously it's going to be a default position now, and we don't have to worry about moving it with the controller. So we're just going to take that, we're going to bring it down here, and so that's looking good now. So this way we can maybe just leave that there, and maybe for the sake of testing, let's just grab that piston and just set it to 1, and there we go. Look at that. So this should hopefully be a faster way of doing it. So we're going to hook up both of the pistons here. We got 2 and 3. So we're going to have to run through this in my mind again here. So it's going to start, it's going to put a block down, so it means we're going to wait. And then number 2 is going to extend out by 1. And then it's going to wait. I guess it shouldn't necessarily wait. Maybe it might just work if it all cycles and we can match the ticks up with the timer. So we're going to do it like this. We're going to go 1, and then it's going to wait, and then we'll go 1 here, and then wait, and then we need to then... Man, it's so easy to get lost in these numbers. Okay, there we go. I finally got it set up so that it's very even in all of the timings between the movements here. You can see it goes in each position with the same hold, which means I should hopefully be able to synchronize the abilities there of the timer so that it syncs up with the movements of the pistons. Alright, so I think I'm at a point here where I'm ready to test this out yet again. So right now, of course, we don't have any of the movement set up in terms of the wheels moving the entire machine, but of course we will get to that. So let's start by trying this out. Here we go. Block 1, 2, 3, 4. This is looking pretty good. So far, it's staying in sync. Now, obviously, like I said, the machine is not moving, but... Uh-oh, okay, there, it just missed one. That is not good. Okay, maybe they aren't perfectly synced up at the moment. Now, it's really hard to tell if this is going to work or not without actually moving the entire machine. So what I might try and do is just duplicate what we have here on that side. I'm going to make another version of it over here on this side. And hopefully what we'll be able to do is with that, we'll be able to actually start testing the movement of the machine as well, because I have a feeling that the movement of the machine will really impact how effective this is at maintaining a pattern and not starting to kind of lose its cycling. All right, there we go. I have the setup there as well on this side. Now, this should be able to just feed from the same timer setup right there for this vacuum pump to place the bricks down. And I think that should be it. I guess we just got to make sure this is set to the fastest as well as looping. We'll come over here, make sure that one is also set to looping. We've got the the switch set up there. We also have our concrete in there as well. So let's just see if this will work. There we go. It's placing them. Okay, that's not good. Okay, it's missing. Okay, well, it's doing a really good job of placing them flat on the ground. Now, I had a feeling that having this extra height was probably going to cause all sorts of weird things, but it seems like we do have something that is moderately working. Okay, I feel like this is slowly getting dialed in. Now, let's try this again. I messed with the timer a little bit more. There we go. That's looking good. Uh-oh, see, no, it's happening too fast there, but I mean, it's still working. I guess it should work no matter what, you know, and I think that's one of the major problems. See, is if that could go underneath it there, then I feel like there would probably be no issues. Okay, and then here we're getting straight evidence of this thing should be moving. All right, I might have just found the sweet spot for these curbs, and once these curbs are done, this is the hard part over. And look at this. There we go. The timing, I think, is finally done perfectly. Yes. Okay, there we go. We're making huge progress now. We are building the curb, and it looks like it's doing a great job. This is really good. Okay, so now we're seeing the vehicle should be moving, but finally we have the timing done, and it looks like we should be good to go to move on to the interior brick section now. So now with this in mind that this is the starting point here, and we did mention that it's a 16 block length here, you can see again that is where the vacuum pump will reach. So I just want to make sure, yeah, so I have room to bring these back here pretty far if I need to, because they are gonna be close to each other here in terms of trying to place these blocks down, and I'm afraid that if I move them too close in front of these ones, then the blocks might get kind of lost, and I'm wondering if maybe I can offset them with like a slight angle variance so we can target that one right on that corner there. So I'm thinking what I should probably do is kind of continue this build off from back here like so, and then create like at least a bit of a frame or something to work with in between here. Now this is a pretty big machine, but of course the machine has to be bigger than the road that it is building. So this should be a pretty good platform to start building the center portion. Now, of course, the beauty of this part here and why it's so much easier than the outside is because it is just completely flush to the ground. So we can kind of get away maybe with utilizing a few more of these vacuum pumps and not moving them around so much. So I guess the first thing I need to do is I gotta do the math here to find out how many I'm gonna be able to fit. So if I imagine maybe we can put like one here, and we might be able to kind of rotate it out to get some more angle. So I'm just gonna fill this in now to get an idea. All right, so it seems like we can discount this one right now because this is going to be the easiest one because it doesn't have to move at all. It's just going to place the blocks down directly in the center. But it seems like we can fit 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them right here on either side. So we've got 4 vacuum pumps, which means if we can kind of like use our imagination here, we're gonna put one there, we're gonna put a block there, and there, and right there. Okay, so this is interesting now. Now there is something I'm kind of curious about actually, and that is, can I get the block to just go right here? So you know what? Yeah, if I start a little bit farther back from the initial one, like right here, I should be able to sneak a block right by it and then start from the outside and work my way in. Yeah, you know what? Okay, that should be a much better solution. Now, I just want to make sure that we're sitting in that block range. Oh, wow, look at that. That's almost perfect. So for this center portion, the only movement we really do need is side to side, and I think we should be able to just get away with using a single piston here, just like so. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put a bearing on either side here, and I'm not going to connect them on both ends in the middle or anything like that, because I want to leave room for that center vacuum pump that is going to go right there on that center line. So I think we should be alright with that right there. And then maybe we should be alright with putting a vacuum pump up into the corner like that. So that way we get the clearance off of the ground and we're able to point it downward. So then we're going to do the same right here as well. We're going to go here, go right to that corner. And then we said we had room for 4 on either side. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put 4. There we go. And so with that piston... Okay, hold on, actually. No, I gotta back it up just a little bit more. I kind of forgot my original plan here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I moved it back, and now you can see that this should hopefully line up just past that vacuum pump right there, and we will have enough room. Oh, man, this is looking pretty interesting. Now, I might be able to move this platform over this way a little bit more as well, just to kind of keep the entire build balanced, because this is... I mean, this is taking up a little bit more room than I anticipated, but you know what? The vacuum pumps are quite bulky, so it can be a little difficult. All right, there we go. We got them mounted at an appropriate distance now. I'm just going to check yet again, make sure, yes, okay, we are still within that range. Now, I'm pretty sure the angle of all of these should never change, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this same controller here. At least for these bearings, you know, I might need to set up something special or something unique for these pistons here separate from these ones because they are going to work independently. And I think what I'm going to do is whichever one is the slowest is the one that's going to dictate how fast the machine moves. So now this is going to be the tricky part here. I need to get these all fed with some tubes. And they're all very close together at the moment, so I'm thinking maybe what I might be able to do, I guess I should see how many connection points do we have on a chest here. I believe it's only 3, isn't it? Yeah, we got 3 connection points, and of course I have 4 of these tubes. Well, I guess what I might end up doing then is just connecting tubes to all of these, just like so, and maybe I'll just give a chest to each one of them individually, because I guess this should, in theory, also be the one that you need the most of, because it's loads of brick going down in that center instead of just a little tiny thin curb on the sides. All right, there we go. I've got the chests filled up, and now we can hopefully see... Okay, wait, no, I can see... Oh, no, wait, no, that's that one. Never mind. Okay, let's tilt this down. Okay, there we go. So now we have where we got these ones pointing, and I suppose what we're going to want to do is get them somewhere where they will see the other side. Now, whoops, okay, that is too far. Okay, here we go. Now I just want to kind of dial it in here. So that's where that is. We're going to go one at a time. Okay, one more. So now I suppose for these ones, they're going to place the first block down, and then it's going to move by 1, I suppose, and then it's going to put another block down. It'll move by 1 more, put a block down, and then it's pretty much overlapping again directly after that. Now, I suppose this one here is gonna have to have an extra one. Now, I think since we're gonna be using the same kind of piston timing sequences, we're gonna use another one of these systems here with a timer, and I think we're just gonna basically just create the same delay and everything, but I want them on their own timer, simply because of the fact that if I want to, I can probably make some minor adjustments separately instead of controlling them at the same time. And already the vehicle is starting to fall over. That is a huge problem. I should really account for that, so we're gonna do that right now, and I realize, ooh, there might be just like a really nice spot for a large wheel tucked away right here. Let's see if this is gonna fit. Oh yeah, that's just perfect. Oh wait, no, too low. All right, there we go. We got some more wheels on it now. And so we should be able to just still line it up here to that initial floor. There we go. And I guess the idea is that you would line up this wheel section here to the original road, just to make sure everything kind of starts in the right sequence. Now for the brick section, I'm gonna set up some new controllers here, and these will be just for this separate piston right here. And so these ones should run independently from the other ones, but they will all be kind of utilizing the same speed and the same intervals in movements as well, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. So these pistons are going to start in the 0 position, and then they will move by 1 block after it places the first one. It's going to move 1, and then pause and put another block down. And then I suppose after the pause, it will move up to another position, which would be this one right here. And it will pause and put another block down. So we're going to get 2, 2. And then I suppose it would, in theory, just kind of extend 1 more. And I'm thinking it has to simply because of this section right here. But I'm realizing it doesn't have to be a perfect line every time it moves to the next section, because once you have like a road length that you would want, you would be able to just clean off the ends there and trim them and have them on flush. So again, it's going to move, it's going to stop, it's going to move by 1 and stop, it's going to move another 1 and then stop, it's going to move 1 more and then stop, and then I guess after that you could bring it back to 0 maybe, and have it kind of loop through this section. I'm going to have to kind of play around with that. But I suppose we could do a separate switch at the moment here, and we will do like separate testing for this new system here. All right, so let's see what this looks like. So it pauses, they go in 1, they go in 2, they go in 3, and then they go back to the beginning. And then they go in, and they kind of keep looping through this here. And I think this should work pretty well, and I do believe that these do go right up against each other, don't they? But it does get every single position here. Now, I realize this center one, we might be able to get away with making it nice and simple, and just having a vacuum pump pretty much just point directly in this line right here. And then it's just going to kind of put that center line down, and that's going to be the easiest part. So I guess what we should do now is maybe a little bit of setup here for dispensing these blocks. So we're going to grab it, and we're going to go here and connect all of these vacuum pumps to our timer. And hopefully this is already all set up because we figured it out for the first part. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out. All right, here we go. So this is testing for the bricklaying in the center with the blocks and the pistons all set up. So here we go. Place a block, move. Place a block, move. Okay, hold on. That one did something weird. I think I might have messed something up there. Now, I'm going to reset that because it's kind of difficult to see what the problem is when it's happening so fast. But it's obviously we did end up missing some sections there, and I'm not too sure why that is. So I'm going to try and I'm going to figure that out here. So let's just try and start that up again and see what happens. So it puts a block, it moves. It puts a block, it moves. It puts a block, and then it resets. Okay, so... Oh, wait, whoops, they're not on loop at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna look at that one more time. Alright, let's see it again. So it's block, move, and then it needs to put one more down, yeah. And then it resets. Oh, so that's the problem. It's resetting. Okay. It's resetting, and then we're getting like a double of the same block, and then we're also kind of going out of sync as well. It doesn't seem to be synced up quite as well. And oh, you know what? That's probably because of the fact that we're getting a very, very fast reset where we go from 3 back down to 0. So I'm going to try and get rid of this extra extension here and have it reset sooner. And maybe we'll come up with a different solution for the center there instead of kind of like tripling up that movement. So let's try it out with this new setting here, and let's just see what happens. So it puts a block, puts it down. Okay, and then it resets. Okay, so there is a moment where I might need to, well, hold on. Well, this is looking pretty good. It's not really staying in time perfectly, but it seems like no matter what, even if it's not really staying in time, it looks like it's doing a really good job of keeping up with the bricklaying and not missing too much. Okay, now it's starting to get a little out of whack here. Okay, well, I've been rewatching this again for another cycle, and it looks like it's doing a decent job. It's doing a really good job right now, and it's not really making any mistakes this time around. So maybe it does work. Okay, well, obviously, like I was saying before, we're not moving the vehicle at all right now, so we are going to see some issues in terms of consistency, because the whole idea is to kind of keep this distance here pretty much the entire time, or at least like a margin of error where this vehicle needs to move, or else it will start doing some weird things. All right, here we go. Double system test. This time I didn't forget to set them to loop. Okay, here we go. Nice. It's building. It's going through the motions. Now, when exactly would this move? I don't know yet, but this is looking good. This looks awesome. It's going really smoothly, and it seems like they are kind of all keeping up, you know, at the same speed. Uh-oh, okay, there's a bit of an issue there, but now this is where, so we can see how many cycles we went through before it started screwing up. So we got one, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th cycle, it started to move them in bad ways, which means we have about this much margin of error before we have to move the entire machine down the line and like moving into the next like sequence where it doesn't overlap. Now, as for the center, we have these 3 block wide kind of gap here to deal with, so I guess we're gonna need 3 vacuum pumps because I need a brick on this side, a brick on that side, and then the stone in the center for that line. So hopefully what I might be able to do here is for the line here, especially if this is going to be the initial setup here, and we're kind of like guaranteeing that that is where we're gonna begin from, then I feel like I might be able to just kind of start with something like this, where this right here, there we go, this can be the concrete block placer right there, and then I might have to create like an angled system that points inward at these ones. So I'm just going to drop down 2 little things like so, and I'm going to place these vacuum pumps maybe on this bottom corner right there, like that, just so it can be relatively low, and we'll do the same on that one there. And let's see here. So I want access to the chests, you know, it would be ideal. But I think it might also be in my best interest to simply attach a chest like this directly to these vacuum pumps. And since I am going to be angling them downward, I might be able to just kind of open up the top here like so. And maybe that will just kind of give me the space that I need in order to tilt them upwards. So let's just clear that there as well. Okay, perfect. So we're going to turn these inward. Now, I guess we are going to want some type of material in here just to make sure that we see... There we go, we can see them ready to attack that middle one. But yeah, so let's see now. We're going to tilt these down. Okay, no, that's not down. Okay, well, that one was down. Okay, there we go. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is what I want. So this one is pointing right here at that spot. But that's not what I want. I want that to be 1 more block in, which means we're going to want maybe... I guess this would be a steeper angle, wouldn't it? And I think... Okay, well, hold on, actually. That is pointing right here. I think I might be mixing up which block is which here. And there we go. Look at that. We have like this perfect cross pattern kind of system going on here, where we will hopefully be able to place these down. Now, I think I want to do this with sensors. I have a feeling that that might be the ideal way to do it, just to detect whether or not it needs to drop something here. And then the key thing will be making the vehicle move nice and slowly so that it doesn't go too fast for these sensors to pick this up. So why don't we just kind of drop this down here like so. And we're going to get a bearing there and a sensor. It doesn't matter really where we point it. And we're going to hook it up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring it right to that spot there. And it's basically just going to look and see if it can even see a block. Okay, so there it is. So once I put a block down right here, that is where it actually detected So I think we're gonna need to just kind of turn it on the bearing just a little bit more here. I guess we'll start with 45 and see what that looks like. It's looking like it should be all right. Let's pop a block down. And there we go, and then it gets activated the moment that block is there, which is perfect, because what I want is, if this doesn't see a block here, then I want it to run through a sequence where it's going to essentially put one block of each in a specific sequence so that it doesn't get locked up with that center block because of that crisscross pattern. So what I ended up doing was I ended up adjusting the angle of one of these vacuum pumps here to compensate for that height. So now, watch what happens. There we go. You can see it does the sequence, and then the moment it fills in that center block, the sensor picks it up, and of course it finishes the sequence. So every time it sees a new zone there, you can see that it will in fact you know, fill it in. So I think I'm ready for like a full-on test of this vehicle. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work or not. But what I'm gonna do is I got that switch there for all the other systems right there as well. So the idea now, I guess, is I'm going to try and manually control my movements while it's building the road. Now this is possibly going to be like a final test here. Maybe this is taking me way longer than I was expecting to build, but you know what? It's totally worth it. So I guess here we go. We're going to try our first run through of the road building machine. So let's press 1, and there it goes. It's now starting to build. Now what I think I might do is once it finishes that section there, I'm gonna move it forward. Just like so. And now I'm gonna let it fill in that center. And we're just gonna keep on driving forward nice and slow. Okay, I went a little too far. But look at this. This is working. It's very tricky, though. I think the crucial thing is letting that center build up and then not moving too far ahead of it. So we're just going to keep on inching forward here. And it's pretty sweet. You don't have to be super fast here. Okay, hold on. I'm starting to see some major issues on the left side here. I don't know if I might have created some sequencing problems. Alright guys, so that's going to be the video for today. I'm honestly pretty happy with this creation. It's not perfect, obviously. There are some issues with some of the automated systems, but realistically, like, I mean, it's doing a pretty good job here. I think really the biggest issue, of course, is this. These blocks getting eaten up by the creation there. That's a huge, unfortunate issue, but it's so inconsistent. You know, this side has one, that side had a whole bunch, and it seems like it's really causing problems with the continuation of the entire thing. But you can see here, though, that this thing is trying its best to build a road automatically. This was just a fun build, though. And I think what I might do is kind of perfect it a little bit more off of recording. And then that way it will just be that much better. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope you found it interesting. I know I certainly did. If you guys did enjoy the video, then be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to tune in for some more Endless Scrap Mechanic, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and maybe even turn on some notifications so you can get the latest and the craziest coming from me in Scrap Mechanic. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be seeing you in the next one. So bye for now.